Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Louise Houghton.
Hello and welcome to another packed edition of Euromaxx highlights. Before we get going, here's a look at some of the stories coming up on the show. Through the ages, portraits like paintings from another era. Avant-garde aesthetic, a Dutch city and its architectural highlights. And party time, another side to the Cannes Film Festival. To begin the show, though, we took to the streets to find out more about the revival of the longboard. It initially lost popularity in the 70s and 80s when the quicker, more agile skateboard came on the market. But nowadays, boarders are realising the benefits of the original design, and the longboard, it seems, is back to stay.
A board, 2 axles, 4 wheels. You don't need much more to glide down the street this summer. Longboards have larger, softer wheels and a greater distance between axles than skateboards. That makes them more stable. Longboards can be up to 1.5 meters long, much larger than your classic skateboard.
A normal skateboard is shorter and not as comfortable. Riding a longboard is like driving a limousine. I find it more relaxed, whereas I always found skateboarding stressful.
There are more than 20,000 longboarders in Germany these days, and their numbers are growing. The longboard was invented in the 1960s by surfers in California. They simply mounted wheels on their surfboards, making the longboard the first type of board on wheels. But it was soon replaced by smaller versions called skateboards and fell into obscurity. Now, longboarding has been rediscovered. This past April, 40 Inch became the first magazine devoted purely to longboarding to hit the market in Germany. The magazine's editors and longboard manufacturers think the number of boarders will double this summer. One of the pioneers of the scene is Frank Sommer, a former kitesurfing instructor. The 50-year-old has run the online forum longboards.de for the past 10 years. With 14,000 members, it's the largest German-language longboarding internet community.
The online shop and the forum grew so quickly that I had to move it all out of my apartment. So I decided to open a shop.
For the past 2 years, customers from around the world have visited the shop in Berlin's Wedding district. The scene attracts all ages, from 20-year-olds to 60-somethings. Those new to it all appreciate the sense of security a longboard gives. But Frank Sommer gets his kicks from downhill boarding, like here on a wooded road on Berlin's Teufelsberg Hill. He can hit speeds of up to 130 kilometers an hour. It's important to have the right equipment: helmet, knee pads, elbow protectors, and padded gloves. Even the German professionals in the discipline of longboard dancing, Peter Markgraf and Nils Knutz, sometimes fall off, no matter how good their sense of balance is.
Falls are a part of it. That can always happen. You have to know that before you start.
Falls aren't inevitable, but they can happen, especially when you're trying new things. So that's why it's important to always wear a helmet.
Smooth asphalt and a slight incline, like in front of Berlin's Olympic Stadium. That's the perfect mix for longboarders.
Now, the Netherlands have long been at the forefront of experimental and modern architecture. A place where you'll find quite a few examples of this is in the northern city of Groningen. Although it's not a large city, several big names in the world of architecture have worked there. Euromaxx went to take a look at some of these prominent buildings that have helped put Groningen on the map.
Large-scale art on a building facade. The headquarters of this Dutch power company in the south of Groningen was named the Netherlands' most architecturally interesting building 4 years ago. few straight lines, not a single right angle. The building is designed to be asymmetrical. The architects wanted to recreate the variety of shapes found in nature. The term they use to describe this approach is anthroposophical philosophy.
It includes the colors and the plants and the water that you can hear and see. It's all part of this philosophy, and this philosophy says that you should feel comfortable.
The idea is if you feel comfortable, you'll be able to work better. The city of Groningen in the northern Netherlands is almost 1,000 years old. It has a long tradition of combining the historical with the new. This may look like a cruise boat that's anchored at port. It's actually Groningen's art museum. 4 renowned architects and designers worked on it simultaneously, including Italy's Alessandro Mendini and France's Philip Stark. The result is a colorful mix of styles, inside as well as out.
We did that because we had the idea that a lot of art comes across better against colored walls. I think white museums are boring, and there are a lot of boring museums.
In Groningen, the museum itself becomes a work of art. Modern architecture is also well represented in the city's apartment buildings. This tower block, called De Rocade, or the Castling, was completed 5 years ago. It has 21 floors and is more than 60 meters high, one of the tallest buildings here. The city at your feet with an unimpeded view of other modern buildings. 3 blocks with 120 apartments, which were completed last year. This apartment building is right on the water, called the Tasmantoren, or the Tasman Towers. It's named for the Dutch explorer Abel Tasman. Behind its facade are apartments that are up to 240 square meters in area. High-rises don't have to be angular. They can be rounded, too. This building houses various public agencies, including the tax office, and it cost some 100 million euros to build. Dubbed the cruise ship by locals, it was completed last year and is considered to be one of the most sustainable large-format office buildings in Europe. Groningen University also has some futuristic buildings. Another example of how the Dutch city is setting standards in modern architecture.
You can say that there's a similar development in other cities, but Groningen is a forerunner, and a lot of visitors to Groningen really admire the architecture.
It seems the Dutch are quite bold when it comes to trying new things in cityscapes. At least it's easy to get that impression in Groningen. In 2001, this building, called the Wall House, was built. Curved exterior walls with a wall straight through the middle. That wall separates the house's working space from the living space. Today, the Wall House is considered Groningen's oddest building. Quite a distinction in a city dedicated to the architecture of the future.
Germany's Steffi Graf is classed as one of the world's most successful female tennis players. She is the only player to have achieved the calendar year Golden Slam by winning all 4 Grand Slam singles and the Olympic gold medal in the same year. After retiring in 1999, she began working on projects outside of the sport, one of which is based in Hamburg.
Steffi Graf doesn't return to Germany often, but she's here in Hamburg to visit the headquarters of her foundation, Children for Tomorrow. She launched the non-profit organization in 1998 and is also its chairperson. The charity works with traumatized children and families in need all over the world.
They are children who have grown up in war, who were forced to take up arms themselves. They've survived dreadful violence. Our foundation, Children for Tomorrow, has started many projects over the years offering therapy for children.
In addition to her aid projects, Graf remains a popular face for advertisers. Her image is used in commercials for pasta, cosmetics. Here, she's shooting an ad for her own chain of fitness studios.
Sport is still very important to me. I try to set aside 30 to 45 minutes for it every day. Any kind of sport, riding a bike, the elliptical trainer, or a little strength training. I try to change things from day to day. I need this time in order to switch off and gather my own thoughts.
But tennis remains her trademark, even if this commercial she's shooting in Hamburg is just for an electronic game. Meanwhile, her foundation focuses on 4 countries in Africa and on Kosovo in southeastern Europe.
I have a lot of fun with my foundation and our different partners. I feel that I've really come into myself, that my life is full of happiness.
Steffi Graf has won much recognition for her charitable activities. The tennis legend now appears to have found her second calling.
Now, this past week, France has been in the midst of its biggest annual event, the Cannes Film Festival. Since the 16th of May, the port city has screened hundreds of movies and many celebrities have been seen walking the red carpet promoting their latest project. But when the sun goes down each day, the festival spirit carries on in a whole new light, with opportunities to unwind, mingle and party the night away.
German-Turkish film director Fatih Akin in action at a party in Cannes. German actress Diane Kruger and her British colleague Ewan McGregor are also part of the fun. In Cannes, there's so much more to the festivals than film premieres and press conferences. The parties are just as important.
I like this kind of madness and merry-go-round. It's like Wimbledon, you know, it's just a world event that proves that cinema is still alive.
I get together with old friends. It feels like home. And after 2 days of speaking French, it's also nice. I enjoy it.
This is where the real deals are made. No one here says, let's get together sometime. Here it's yes or no. Business is business.
The Croisette is Cannes' world-famous harborside boulevard. This is where a lot of the parties happen. Only a few filmmakers can afford not to go.
Parties don't interest me. I'm here for the films. Here in 1 week I can watch the world's best films. I don't need parties. I'll leave that to you all.
The action continues on the beach, day and night. Plenty of business meetings are also held on the luxury yachts anchored behind the festival center. German producer Heino Deckert, who helped bring out another film in competition, In the Fog, is also on hand.
Everyone is here. That's what sets Cannes apart from other festivals, even important ones. Everyone is here.
This is a reception for Bosnian director Aida Begic. She's presenting her new film, an international co-production called Jeka.
think one of the advantages of this festival is also the time of the year and the place where it's taking place. You know, everybody wants to walk in nice dress, in nice weather.
Dancing housewives draw attention to a film featuring Irish pop star Ronan Keating, who's making his acting debut.
This is the dream, you know. This is my first feature film, so, you know, and you always read about Cannes, the film festival, all the big stars that are here. It's just it's such a buzz to be here and be part of it.
The most exclusive parties are held at private villas in the hills above the city. That's where you'll find James Kodak. The American is drummer for the rock band The Scorpions. He's helping his partner, Stephanie Smith, promote her new film.
Cannes is the magical, mystical unicorn of all festivals. Over this last year, Stephanie and I attended approximately 7 festivals in America, where Stephanie won Best Director, Best Audience, Best Movie overall. And that's great. But to come to Cannes and try to prove yourself is a whole different animal. Yeah. It's beyond recognition. I mean, everyone is here.
Oh, hey.
Oh.
Including Joe Jackson, father of the late king of pop, Michael Jackson.
This is a great thing, you know. Not just for me, but it's for everybody. You know, this is a great thing, you know.
It's a circus. It's a 3-ring circus. Crazy. This is better than Vegas. This is Vegas, Paris, London, New York, all rolled into 1 week.
The festival's awards will be handed out this weekend, among them the ultra-coveted Golden Palm. But even before the ceremonies, Cannes gives those in the filmmaking business every reason to celebrate.
Well, they certainly look like they're doing that. Now, moving on, I want to introduce you to a Swiss-Italian photographic artist called Christian Tagliavini. Not only does he capture images through the lens, he also designs the background and costumes for his unique shots. And if you're wondering why they're so unique, well, you're about to see for yourself.
Portraits that seem to be from another era. Models set up as if in paintings. Fashion photos using clothes made of paper and cardboard. Swiss photographer Christian Tagliavini creates the clothing himself, a time-consuming task. He usually spends several months preparing for one photo shoot.
I'm fascinated by the fact that I don't simply release the shutter, but that the real fun for me is before I take the pictures. I say that I'm not really a photographer, but a workman of photography. I like to play at designing and create clothes no one can really wear.
Like in the photo series Dame di Cartone, or Women of Cardboard from 2008. The designs were inspired by Baroque styles, by Cubism, and by the fashions of the 1950s. For earlier works, Tagliavini had the clothes tailor-made, but here he opted for cardboard.
A seamstress said to me, "This fabric is not good, it's too stiff, like cardboard." So I got the idea of just making clothes from cardboard. I liked the flat, stiff cardboard clothes in connection with the three-dimensionality of the models.
Christian Tagliavini released his first photographic work 6 years ago. It was a photo series with an overriding concept, such as chromophobia, or fear of color, or aspettando Freud, waiting for Freud. His greatest success to date was the portrait series 1503, which he did 2 years ago. Photos made to look like old master paintings. Here he used fabric as well as cardboard. He got inspiration for his own designs from the Italian Renaissance painter Il Bronzino.
I wanted to recreate the atmosphere of the Renaissance with a combination of the style and artful textiles of the period. But I didn't want to simply imitate the paintings of the Renaissance. but to give the photos my very own style.
I dipinti dell'epoca del Rinascimento, ma volevo soltanto dare una mia impronta.
In 2011, Christian Tagliavini exhibited his Renaissance photos in Paris, Milan, Utrecht, and London. And in Chiasso, Switzerland, where he lives, he's had his first retrospective exhibition. In early 2012, Tagliavini won an internationally significant prize for photography, the Hasselblad Masters Award in the category of fine art. The Swiss photographer is now able to make a living from his art and finance the months of preparatory work. The costumes in his latest series are again made of paper and cardboard, but have no historical references.
I
cast an ironic gaze at fashion, especially in my new series. Here I feel even more like a fashion designer and photographer, but allow my ideas free rein.
So far, only 2 of the planned playing card photos have been completed. The series is still untitled, and creating it will probably take Christian Tagliavini all year, given the precise way he works.
And international artists like Tagliavini are currently displaying their work at Ukraine's first Biennale of Contemporary Art in Kiev. The exhibition is being held in an 18th century architectural monument called the Old Arsenal Building. Arsenal relating to weapons, not the football team. However, with Kiev co-hosting the European 2012 Football Championships, there may well be a few fans amongst the visitors.
Over 100 works by Ukrainian and international artists are on display at the first festival for contemporary art in Ukraine. David Elliott is the curator of the Arsenale 2012, as it's called. The British native is one of the world's leading art show organizers. The venue was once used to store weapons. The 19th century Old Arsenal offers 50,000 square meters of exhibition space.
I mean, I found the space extremely a great challenge and very stimulating, and it's a very, very beautiful building, and you can put really strong works in it.
Pieces of asphalt become pictures. They're original, collected from building sites throughout the city. They're meant to be a metaphor of Kiev peeling off its old skin. That's at least according to the work's Ukrainian creator, Zana Kadyrova. Ahead of the Euro 2012 championships in Poland and Ukraine, Kiev is blossoming with art events.
It was just a matter of time before this kind of festival took place here. I know the team behind the venue. In recent years, they've turned this space into a very exciting location. If the European Soccer Championships had come a year later, that's when the art show would have taken place. Of course, they're connected.
Zana Kadyrova's studio is in the heart of Kiev, near the Old Arsenal. She's already working on her next show, which will feature a set of oversized clamshells. They symbolize what she says is a trend in Ukraine. Many rich and powerful people are sealing themselves off in cold, impersonal complexes. An elite without links to the rest of society. That's what she's protesting against, using art.
I'm convinced that many people are waking up and are about to become politically active citizens. And that will help us change the way we live in this country. But it can't happen from one day to the next.
Many artists are addressing their quest for identity at the show. Many of the works aim to make a break with the horrors of the past and the ideologies of the 20th and 21st centuries. The organizers of the event also say they want to give a forum to art that takes a stand against what they call the false idols of today. It's art as an opportunity.
I mean, there are challenges, but as far as I know, not direct challenges from the government. And the fact that this Biennale is taking place and it's funded by the government and I was not censored in any way. Would have refused, of course, immediately got out, had that been a question, suggests that it's not so bad.
Arsenale 2012 will continue through July the 31st. The organizers hope it's just the first show of many, and that it will put Kiev on the map as Eastern Europe's center of contemporary art.
And that is all we have time for today. Thank you for being with us, and hopefully see you again soon. Until then, take care and goodbye.